Hi, this is Richard Murray with another session of Parking Lot Theology. I want to talk to you today about one of my favorite passages in the Psalms, and it's Psalm 37:4. And it says basically to delight yourself in the Lord and He'll give you the desires of your heart. Well, a lot of people have wrongly interpreted that passage to say, well, if you delight yourself in the Lord, He'll give you whatever you want, whatever you pray for. He's going to automatically give it to you because it's your desire. I don't think that's the mature and the best way to read that passage. I think that the best way to read it is that if we delight ourselves in the Lord, He will give us His desires to then operate in our heart. He will give us new desires. He will give us noble desires. He will give us energetic desires. He will give us pure desires. He will give us condemnation-free desires. And that is what it is all about. Now, the word delight there in the Hebrew is a word that means to be pliable. So if we delight ourselves in the Lord, it means we become pliable with Him. We become, we seek His embrace. We seek to yield to Him in a gentle, in the way. And actually, the Hebrew word has connotations that of a wife submitting to her husband by being horizontal. So there's actually the idea of intimacy there, of just totally yielding into your lover's arms. So that if we delight ourselves in the Lord and we yield ourselves into the Lord's arms, knowing that He's our husband God. He is the great mystery in Ephesians, is Christ and His church. It's the great allegory of the Song of Solomon, that He loves us. And He loves each of us individually, but He also loves us corporately. He loves men. We are His children. Men, and when I say men, obviously I mean men and women, but He's and everyone else, child, teenagers, everyone. We're all His one big happy family who He wants to be fulfilled and who He wants to find for us to find our delight in Him. And when we do, He then energizes our desires. And that's a way that we consent to Him. There can be no love. Love has to have some element of freedom. It doesn't have to have some eternal freedom, like I'm going to make a choice, that's going to last for eternity. We don't have that kind of freedom, but we do have a measure of freedom. And that measure of freedom is basically in the here and now. Do I yield to my husband God? And as we do that individually and corporately, that's just worship, but that's just love. That's just us interacting with Him. And as we interact with Him, He then gives us the desires of His heart. So anyhow, if that passage, I hope that passage blesses you and maybe shows a kind of a fresh light on us to take it. When you feel, because I know some days I can't create my own desires. I want a desire to do what's right. Paul talks about it in Romans. I want a desire, but I don't have the desire. Who will save me? The things I want to desire, I don't desire. And the things I don't want to desire, I end up desiring. So who will save me from this body of death? And he said, praise God, the Spirit of Christ will save me from this death. So anyhow, let's get there's an old Jermaine Jackson song, that's Michael Jackson's brother, and it says, let's get serious and fall in love. But I like to change that, let's get mystical and fall in love with the Lord, individually and corporately. And as we love Him, we love each other because we recognize that His love is for all of us. So anyhow, blessings.